Lindsay's friend Fiona was eventually moved into specialist care 100 miles away in North Wales. The idea was to get her away from the abuse and give her a chance to rebuild her life. But within a week, the two men tracked her down and went to abduct her. This was to prove a turning point in the case. They took Lindsay with them from her care home in Blackburn.
They went to North Wales in the vehicle, collected the other 14-year-old and were brought back to the Blackburn area where they were supplied with ecstasy tablets and engaged in sexual activity with the males.
And why did that prove the turning point?
After this event, the girls, the victims, were willing to tell me and disclose offences against them. Up until then, when I've conducted return-to-home interviews with them, they wouldn't provide any information. They didn't see themselves as victims.
But suddenly they would?
They did. It was very significant to them.
Following this abduction and the further abuse, the girls realised the danger they were in, especially when the men turned violent.
The time that Zulfir attacked Fiona was the worst. I remember hearing her screaming because he was whacking her across the back with a metal bar. I ran in and grabbed it off him, and he was just screaming at her because she wouldn't have sex with him. I suppose in the end, she just had sex with him to keep him quiet.
Faced with the evidence against them, Naveed and Hussein finally pleaded guilty to abduction, having sex with children, and giving them Class A drugs. Last August, they each got prison sentences of almost 6 years. Children taken into care are supposed to be protected by the authorities. But the reality is that the only way to be sure they can't be got at by abusers is to put the children into secure accommodation, effectively locking them up out of harm's way. We've learnt that this has now happened to one of the girls in the case. But the problem is, the only person who gets punished is the victim. Police in Blackburn have been alerted to other cases of children being sexually abused. But this secretive criminal world makes it hard to gather evidence. With few victims turning to the police for help, officers here go to known pick-up points, looking for girls at risk of grooming into prostitution. On Saturday evening, Sergeant Whelan and PC McDermott come across a young girl on her own and looking vulnerable.
Hello?
Are you all right?
The police?
Yeah.
You all right? Yeah, you look freezing.
How old are you?
15.
15? Are you waiting for your mates?
Yeah. What do you want?
Do you know what? We just want to know that you're all right, because obviously
I am all right.
we're police and we just want to make sure that you're safe, and we wanted to check out how old you are, that's all. You're waiting for your dad. Have you just been to the cinema?
Yeah.
Within a minute, she's changed her story, from being at the pictures with her mates to being with her boyfriend in an Asian area.
Dad's coming to pick her up. She's been to Audley to see her boyfriend, Adam.
Adam who? You don't know his last name? How long have you gone out with him? 3 weeks. No. You're not going to leave you unless we think you're safe. No.
The police are suspicious. They've had intelligence that an Asian man using this name has been grooming girls. Police are more worried when she refuses to give any more information.
I'm okay. I'm gonna get the bus.
She's going to get the bus.
OK.
Still concerned, the police follow her and want to contact her family.
You give me your home telephone
I don't
number.
know it.
I'll ring your dad.
I don't have a dad.
Right, I'll ring your mum.
Right.
Who, go on.
Oh.
They manage to get what she says is her mum's phone number. But the girl then suddenly changes her name.
We're just with your daughter now. Sorry, just a second. She's called... Is it Yeah. How old is She's how old? 16.
16.
And
Okay,
now
right.
her age has
Is
changed.
she allowed out at the moment? We just wanted to check that she was safe and she wasn't a missing person.
None of this hangs together, but with what seems to be her mother saying she's out with her consent, there's little the police feel they can do. So they give up.
That was a typical scenario of a young girl on her own, doesn't tell you the full story when you speak to them, and you just have to question them further. And, you know, quite easily a car could have turned up, asked her to jump in, and she would have been in and away. So we had to stop and speak to her. That was a bad one, you know.
Why?
What can you do?
You just take hold of them, haven't you?
Well, I know.
The authorities are already alert to the danger posed by individual paedophiles. Now they're concerned that evidence from some local communities points to an even more sinister threat: organised sexual exploitation of children by ruthless criminal gangs.
As the cost of drugs has fallen over the past few years, they've seen a fall in their income over half. And to fill that shortfall, they've turned to other methods. And one of the primary methods is to get young white teenage girls into prostitution.
Big money?
Very big money. So, you know, one prostitute could charge anything up to £200 to £300. It's an evil trade. There's a huge demand out there from evil people, and these drug dealers are trying to fill that demand.
I was taken to a flat and shut in the bedroom, and I had to perform sexual acts on different men, and they just, like, one would come in, do whatever he wanted to do, go out, and then another would come in. They were like a conveyor belt, and it was as though, like, but it was easy to do it and then get home than to not do it and not get home.
How many men were involved that day?
There were 5.
Were you getting paid for any of this?
No, you never saw any money, or never saw any money exchanging or anything like that.
Was money changing hands?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
I've been told, like, they'd say smart comments like, oh, thanks for doing us that favour the other day. I got £200 for that.
£200?
Yeah.
And you weren't seeing any of it?
No.
There's no doubt in my mind that it is orchestrated in some parts of the country some of the time by criminal networks, by individual pimps who might work with other colleagues in other towns. We also know that the younger the women, the higher the price. So what the pimp and all the criminal network receives are very significant monies.
Are we talking about thousands, tens of thousands a year for these gangs, or more?
Well, I'd have thought significantly more than that.
We believe from the evidence that we hear from parents about the men who are exploiting their children that it is highly organised. And we know this because we ask parents to keep records, any information that they receive about the men involved. And when we go into a specific area and we've got a large number of parents recording that information, it will often all interlink. So it will be the same men exploiting the young people. The names will be the same, often nicknames admittedly, but a lot of the names will be the same, the phone numbers will be the same. It will all link up, and that's why we believe that it is organised.
Police have had success in breaking up gangs who've trafficked young women into the UK for the sex trade. And grooming of children by predators on the internet has rightly gained a huge amount of attention. But in most cases, those offenders never actually get to meet their victims. British girls being moved around the country for abuse that isn't virtual but very real has attracted almost no attention and not a single prosecution. The Home Office recently said,
"There is no evidence to suggest that internal trafficking is a big problem in the UK. It's a relatively new form of organised crime that is now coming to our attention.